Are you ready to kickstart your week with some dirt slinging and tire slaying action motorsports radio that packs the biggest guests?
Hi, Ken Block here.
Hey, my name's Jolene Van Butte.
What's up, Brian Deegan here.
Vaughn Ginn Jr. here.
They've been thrown into one show that has broken down the barriers of what a motorsports radio show should be. This is the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR, with support from General Tire, KMC Wheels, Rigid Industries, Dirtfish, Gibson Exhaust, and MTX Audio, with your host, who also happens to spend his weekends flying 800 horsepower trucks through the dirt, Jim Beaver.
When was the last time you saw an off-road or rally driver begging to get behind the wheel of a NASCAR IndyCar? Yep, not happening, but you sure see these pavement racers begging to drive our cars.
And his partner in crime every week, a self-proclaimed Canadian moto chick who was jumping triples and taking podiums before most guys even learned to ride, Amy Houde.
No one knows how to say my last name. Like, is it really that hard? Amy Houde, like I'm from the hood. Don't get it twisted.
Sit back, strap in, and be prepared to join us as we take you through a motorsports ride like no other. Here is the man who carries a steering wheel in one hand and a mic in the other, Jim Beaver.
Good morning and welcome to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. Jim Beaver here in the house, back in Arizona, off a weekend up in the forests of Minnesota. That's right, I was up there with Rally America, hosting Rally America Radio, as well as something a little bit new we tried, doing some live periscoping, and got to thank my boy Rob Weir from Subaru, who joined me on the second half of that as my co-host of sorts, but lots of fun, and yeah, we're going to definitely try and do a little more periscoping, both from my personal account and Rally America's account. So thanks to all you who tuned in, all 500 plus of you. Pretty awesome for first Rally America feed. But anyways, this show, Monday here, Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR, and we got a little bit of rally flavor on tap for you guys today. Granted, I came from the Ojibwe Rally up there in Minnesota. So we're going to have some podium interviews with David Higgins, Travis Pastrana, that I did over the weekend right after they got out of the cars after taking their podium. So, yeah, it's going to be fun, to air those. Those of you who tune into Rally America Radio, you probably already heard them, but we're going to re-air them here for those of you that aren't smart enough to be tuning into Rally America Radio yet. But, yeah, good times up there. David Higgins continuing that streak, and we'll definitely get into a lot of Rally America talk later on in the show. And then the first half of the show, though, Red Bull GRC kind of had kind of been in a lull, a little break. They went on a bender there, had a few events right in a row, and kind of had a little break. 2 weeks, we've got a big doubleheader coming up in Los Angeles. And so we're going to have Red Bull GRC media director and resident GRC expert here. And to be honest with you, this guy probably has more knowledge on rallycross than anybody in the world. I say that, and he's probably the world's foremost expert on rallycross. I would definitely be willing to say that. But anyways, Chris Leone is going to be on air later on in this hour. But here in just a few minutes, we're going to have a good friend of mine, Patrik Sandell. A lot of you guys know him, the Cobalt Tools Ford Fiesta in Red Bull GRC. He's got a win and a podium this year, and man, it's going to be great to catch up with Patrik. It's been well over a year, maybe 2 years since we've had him on air. So new team this year, and and he's been ridiculously fast all year long. So going to be fun to catch up with Patrik. And then, as always, like every Monday, Amy Houde, she's going to be in the house and going to be wrapping things up the last 30 minutes of the show, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I know she had a bad crash this weekend on her dirt bike. She's kind of like me. When we're not on the mic, we're generally in the car, or in her case, on the bike. So going to be fun to catch up with her and find out about this crash. Sounded pretty brutal, wrecking on a set of triples. So as always, anytime Amy calls in, it's definitely going to be fun. But yeah, it was really kind of a down weekend for Action Motorsports, man. We had Rally America, and past that, not a whole lot going on. Formula D, we've had them the week before. Off-road kind of in a little break period. We got short course coming up. Crandon this weekend, the big one, the biggest short course event of the year. coming up this weekend, Crandon, Wisconsin. We'll definitely have all that coverage next week. So if you're in Wisconsin, just book your weekend already. Just go up to Crandon. No reason why, even if you're in the Midwest. Make the trip up there. Sleep in the bed of your truck. I don't care. You definitely want to be up there in Crandon. But right now, it looks like we got Patrik Sandell calling in. How's everything going, Patrik?
All good. How are you guys?
Doing well, buddy. And I got to tell you, you made some changes this offseason. We'll get to those, but congratulations on the win, second career win a couple of weeks ago, and another podium, I believe, at DC. DC's treated you well.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, it's been a really good season. I'm really happy with my new team, Brian Houde Rally Sport. They have really put together everything I could ask for and much, much more, and they are coming up with great ideas how to try to be even faster every time we're out there. So I'm very, very pleased with my situation right now.
Yeah, well, and this year, I mean, talking a little bit about this year, I mean, I believe I'll have to look. What are you, fifth in points currently? Fifth, sixth? You're kind of right in there, I think, in the point standings, correct? I should know this, right? Yeah, fifth in points, right? To me, that doesn't tell the full story, though, because you've been so fast. I mean, you and Ken Block, you two have been, in my opinion, just leaps and bounds faster than everyone else. And I know you've had just some bad luck, but I think you're a whole lot faster than what the point standings show.
Yeah, definitely. I've been leading the final twice, and one time we had a car failure, the first race up in Detroit, and that could have been for us easily 50 more points, but we ended up with 10 because I got last in that final. And same at the military base. Same thing there. I was leading, and then we had the red flag, so we had to restart. But that's a part of the game. So Ken have had a really good start of the season and been able to get good points in each and every one of them. So we are a bit behind him in points, but I definitely think we have the speed to be able to fight with him and everybody else in the rest of the season. So if I can have the luck on my side, hopefully we can climb a few more places before we get to Vegas, and then hopefully we can give everybody a good show in the last race.
Yeah. Well, I got to ask you. You spent some time up there in Utah at Ken Block's place, and for anybody who hasn't been there, I mean, it's just a truly remarkable compound. But any secrets you were able to take away and bring back to your program when you're up there?
That place is on on very high altitude, so maybe he's doing some special training up there. I think the city itself is on 6,000 feet, so maybe that's the key. But yeah, he's a great guy, and we both come from the same background, stage rallying, and we hang out and we have a lot of fun together. So it's really cool that we both are right now fighting in the top in Red Bull GRC. So that's cool.
Yeah, well, and that's a question I've heard the past week when we made the announcement you're going to be on the show, and I get messages through the website and stuff like that. But how for you as a driver? I mean, I've driven stage rally cars, and then I've tested lights cars, and poor you were actually the guy in the right hand seat when I did that. But how has that transition been from you from stage rally to GRC and I guess it's predominantly tarmac. There's there's some gravel mixed in, but how have you had to adjust your driving skill to GRC?
It actually took longer than I expected. It's the same type of car. In handles exactly the same. The power is twice as much. But that one came easy. Well, I've been so used to driving from A to B as fast as I can, and then I'm going to the next stage and I do the same thing. And so it took me actually quite a while to get used to try to optimize and hit my marks in every corner, lap after lap. And that's something I really been focusing on the last 2 years. So I've been driving more go-kart than I guess anybody on this planet the last 2 years, just to really learn how to hit my marks every lap and just do the same thing all the time. And I think that has been the key the last events for me, that we've been able to hit our marks lap after lap and been able to normally extend the lead we've had in the beginning, and that has been a key factor for me.
Yeah. Well, and I never really thought about that, but in stage rally, if you make a mistake on a corner and lose a second half, there's a good chance you can make that up, in a few corners. But Red Bull GRC, if you make a mistake, lose a second, I mean, it's almost, it's a race ender almost,
Yeah, no, definitely, and the margins are so small in rallycross, and there's so many good drivers in the series right now. So normally in qualifying we are top 8 in 2-3 tenths of a second on the course with jumps and dirts and asphalt, and that's pretty incredible. So the level of competition right now is insane. So you have to be so precise in everything you're doing, and you have to be smart, and you have to have some luck. So it's a lot of things that come into it.
Yeah, well, and how have you seen the series, kind of mature? Because you're a veteran of the series at this point. You've been in a few years, and you've kind of seen the change. And and I know anybody that's a driver or media or even a fan has seen the changes in Red Bull GRC, and this in the series definitely in a better place now. But how have you seen that change?
It's really going in the right direction, and I think that Colin Dine and everybody at Red Bull GRC have put in a lot of effort to try to make this sport as good as it is right now, and they have really succeeded, because I've seen it the last 3 years with everything. Like, tracks have become much better. We have a lot of more spectators. We have the TV show is fantastic. There's a lot of people watching that one as well. So the sport is really, really growing, and one key factor to it is that it's really attracting the younger demographics, and that's, everybody needs sponsors to be able to race in motorsport, and a lot of companies right now also would like to get in contact with the younger demographics. I think Global Rallycross is the perfect marketing tool to be able to reach out to those youngsters that like crazy cars and drivers, and that are jumping with them. So.
Yeah. Well, and let's talk about you and your career, because you spent the first couple of years of of your GRC career with Andreas Eriksson, and I know you and Andreas have a great relationship. You made the switch to Brian Houde, and a big switch from an Olsberg's car to an M Sport car. I mean, how has that change been this year? I mean, how has it been for you in a car? That I know it's a Ford, but it's definitely a lot different from the Olsberg car that you've been accustomed to.
Yeah, no, it's two things that comes into it. First of all, the M Sport car is a rally car. It's built for stage rally, and that's my background. So it kind of felt for me when I started to drive that car instead before this season, that it felt like I came home. It responded in the same way I've been used to in the past. The balance of the car, the movement in the chassis. So that was one big thing. But the biggest thing for me when I changed team was that me and Andreas, we come from the same thing, from the same background. We both have like dirt and stage rally in our blood. And as the GRC really turned into a series where we race on asphalt and a few corners of dirt and a jump, I felt that I needed to get more racing people around me. So then Brian Houde was the perfect fit for me, because he comes from the completely opposite background than me, and he is just a perfect racer. So the whole team is bringing that side, the racing part of it, and I'm coming in with the rally side, and I think we have now been able to create a perfect package, and that package is rallycross.
Yeah. Well, and not only that, but your teammate there in Austin Dine. I mean, you've got the gravel background. He, with his NASCAR driving and stuff, it has a tarmac background. I mean, that's you in the development of this M Sport car. I mean, he being able to bring the tarmac, you being able to bring the gravel background. It's had to accelerate your guys' team development of the car.
Yeah, no, definitely. His background is also completely different from mine, so we try to take and learn from each other, and I can give him a few tips and ideas about the dirt, and he always driving good lines on asphalt. So we try to work as a team and try to be as fast as we can as a group.
Yeah. So I got to ask you, I know a couple of weeks ago or last week, I can't remember, but I know you spent some time in Southern California driving some Ferraris around. We all know how fast the Red Bull GRC cars are. We all know how fast a Ferrari is, but I want to put it into perspective for a lot of listeners who maybe don't realize how quick your Fiesta is. I mean, as fast as a Ferrari is, I mean, your Fiesta still hands down and beat it in a race, right?
Definitely. No, that was me and Austin had a really good morning drive up there in Malibu Hills. But those cars are fantastic and insane in all the ways. But still, they are nothing compared to a global rallycross car. My Cobalt Tool Sport Fiesta is just insane, and the acceleration you get out of it, you cannot buy that for money. And I understand why we cannot drive them on normal roads, because they are insane.
Yeah. Well, and talking about Cobalt and Lowe's, I know you were lucky enough. I believe Las Vegas almost 2 years ago. They came on a single race sponsorship with you, and then last year extended it for a year, and this year you're back again. I mean, how has that been? That relationship there with Lowe's, and I mean teammates with Jimmy Johnson. I mean, that's almost got to be a dream come true in itself. Yeah,
no, definitely. It's for me, it's the perfect fit, and I'm just a normal guy, and I really feel that with Lowe's and Cobalt that they are such a great company with a fantastic motorsport history, and I just felt again like I came home. The fit is so perfect, and I love working with those guys, and they are so professional, and they've been around motorsport with Jimmy for 13 or 14 years. So it's great. They are used to win though quite a lot with Jimmy, so that puts kind of some pressure on me. But I haven't won 6 championships yet. But if they give me another 13 years, I'm gonna see if I can do 7.
Nice. Well, we got a couple of fan questions we had sent in, and actually 2 of them from a page in Charlotte, but both of them are really good questions. First question: how has the move to the United States been for you and the culture change?
It's good. I really enjoy it there. It's a cool place. It's really nice, and the biggest difference is obviously the weather, because I live up in a ski resort in northern Sweden. So that's kind of my base during the off seasons in the winters, and in the summers my base is in Charlotte, North Carolina. So the weather is a big difference. In the beginning, I had a hard time to find healthy food, but now I located a few really good spots so I can get some good food. So it's kind of different, but it's a modern world. So Sweden is a modern country, America is an even more modern country. So it's more or less the same. But in the beginning, when you go to the grocery store for the first time, I'm so used. I know exactly what butter or milk or whatever, just normal things that I've been buying the same thing for my whole life, and I'm coming here and I feel like I'm 2 years old again, and I have no idea where to start.
Well, and the other question I've got, I mean, you still are going back to Sweden in the winters. I know you said you're doing a lot of ice driving up there, right? And you also teach some schools, correct?
Yeah. So I run a company called Flat Out Sweden during the winters, and we do a lot of ice driving, anything you can imagine doing on a car on snow and ice we're doing. And I'm doing a lot of rally schools with the supercar lights, and that's really, really cool. Those cars are just fantastic on snow and ice, and it's the perfect way to learn how to drive a car, because you can really push yourself over the limits. Because the worst thing that happens is that you get stuck in the snowbank and one of the guys comes and pulls you out again. So it's the best way to learn how to drive on loose surface.
Yeah. Well, and here's the question just from me. I know your stage rally background. I mean, you still interested if the right opportunity, say for a one-off in Europe or in Rally America to do a stage rally? I mean, would you definitely be open to that?
Definitely. My 100% focus is GRC together with Lowe's, but if I can squeeze in a stage rally or two in between the races, definitely. And I'm actually going to do a stage rally in the Asia Pacific Championship the weekend after LA in Japan. So I'm going straight from LA to Japan to do one stage rally, and I have another one planned in beginning of December in India. So I still do a few stage rallies a year. I just love it, and everything that comes with racing I love. So as soon as I get a chance to come in and jump in a car and drive, I take the opportunity if I can.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and I got a question talking about opportunities, and this was another question from Paige and Charlotte, but one that I know about just because I'm friends with them. But we had actually had Lauren Mayhew on air. I don't know, a couple months back. Tons of fun, and her and Kristen called in, and but you were in a music video with them. How did that go? The video turned out awesome, but had to have been something kind of you stepping out of your box. Had to have been something new to you. I mean, how was that whole experience?
That was a fun experience. I got a chance to drift around the Ford Mustang for a while, and I really enjoyed that. And I don't know if my acting skills were the best, but I told them I cannot dance, I cannot sing. If I'm just going to stand there and try to look cool and drift the car, that's my normal job, so I can do that.
So if they have you back, you're going to have to take some acting classes for the next one, huh?
Yeah, I think I have to do that. If I'm going to step this up and do more music videos, I do need to do some acting class. But that's not a part of my plan right now.
Definitely not in the plan. Oh, well, talking about L.A., we got a doubleheader coming up. I mean, you still doubleheader in L.A., we got a doubleheader in Barbados, and then the finale there in Vegas. I mean, 5 rounds left, still a lot of points up to grab. I mean, what are the plans from here on out to try and reel in Ken Block?
It's a long way up to Ken. I don't think that I can reach Ken just by myself, but hopefully we can reach a podium. So we're just going to be smart about it and try to go to the first race now in LA. We learned a few things about the car in Washington, D.C. During the last race. So I think we will be able to have an even faster car now. I'm really excited for those 2 tracks. It will be 2 completely different tracks. The one in LA is on a smaller parking lot again, and then in Barbados will be one of the fastest events this season. So I think for me personally, it will be a bigger challenge to do really good on the one in LA. I'm sure we can do it, but I need to really fight for it. The faster tracks normally comes more easy to me. So all focus right now on LA and try to be on the podium both Saturday and Sunday and score some more good points.
Yeah, well, and how is a doubleheader for you as a driver? I mean, normally going into a race weekend, concentrate on one event, let's do good, and then you get to decompress. I mean, a doubleheader, I mean, it's got to be extra stress on you. It's back-to-back days, and you got to bring your A game for a couple days in a row. And if you mess up the first day, it can really affect the car for day number 2.
Yeah, no, definitely. But that, when I was used to drive stage rally, in the World Rally Championship, we always drove for 3 days, full speed. So they can do double headers or 3 or 4 or 5 races in a row, and it will not affect me in a negative way. I just getting better and better for every day.
Yeah. Well, Patrik, I appreciate you taking the time to call in. I know you're awful busy, but good luck here in a couple of weeks in LA. We'll definitely be keeping tabs, and good luck in the upcoming 5 rounds.
Perfect. Thank you very much, guys.
All right. Thanks, Patrik.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right. That was Patrik Sandell, Red Bull GRC driver in the Lowe's Cobalt Tools vehicle. And, a Ford Fiesta. I ought to be, I guess, politically correct. But great catching up with Patrik, one of the great personalities in Red Bull GRC. And, coming over. And first time I met Patrik was actually when I tested GRC Lights cars before the first year of GRC Lights. We're talking, I don't know, what was it, 2.5 years ago? I went out there, got invited by Olsberg to test one, and went out, and Patrik actually sat in the right-hand seat. And, granted, I've done some stuff in karts, but I not a lot of tarmac experience. I mean, I know proper road racing technique, but not a lot of tarmac experience, right? And they had a couple of dirt chicanes and handbrake corners with on the gravel, and and then they had road course set up with cones and stuff like that. Tons of runoff for idiots like me who tend to who it was new. I mean, the whole rallycross thing. I spent years of my life in off-road, but rallycross definitely something new. And we go in and 2 or 3 laps in, you stand on it. We go around a corner, and I just totally lost it. The car spun, and we took out 3 or 4 cones, and Patrick's just laughing. You know what I mean? And it was funny. It didn't do any harm to the car except for knock over a few cones or something like that. But immediately I'm going, oh crap, I'm gonna get in trouble. They're gonna yank me out of this. And he was just laughing. And I got to tell you, there were some people that did a lot worse than me that day. But by the end of the day, I was actually had some really solid times. But it was 3 laps in and getting accustomed to this brand new car that I'd never driven before. It was in all-wheel drive, and I'm used to rear-wheel drive. Is definitely a change-up, but tons of fun, and definitely something I will remember, and hopefully at some point I can actually compete in a GRC Lights car. Wouldn't that be fun? But Patrik Sandell, one of the great personalities of Red Bull GRC, and you know how they have with their open paddock and things like that. He's one of those guys. I tell you, if you've got kids, definitely search out Patrik. He loves to spend time with the fans, and as do all the Red Bull GRC drivers. But Patrik he's one of the good ones. Let's put it that way. But great catching up with him. We're going to take a short break here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. And when we come back, it's going to be Red Bull GRC's Chris Leone. He's going to be calling in, and we're going to talk about L.A., Barbados, the year that we've had so far, the future, and all things happening in Red Bull GRC. Definitely going to be a fun interview, and who knows, we may actually talk a little bit of football too. He's got his Patriots, I got my Cardinals, and I guarantee you it's going to come up in conversation. So this is the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. I'm Jim Beaver. Be sure and tweet me at JimBeaver15. If you got any questions for Chris Leone or Amy Houde, we'll be back after this break.
I'm Polaris rider Levi LaValle, and I choose Polaris just because they have the best quality, highest performing, most fun machines out there.
Only one company has taken Levi LaValle to 10 X Games medals, snowcross championships, a double backflip, and a world record long jump of 412 feet across the San Diego Harbor on New Year's Eve, and that company is Polaris. Whether it's dominating the X Games, racing a stock Polaris Razor XP1000 in the Terracross Championship, or just hitting the trail on the weekend, for over 20 years, Levi has relied on the same quality Polaris vehicles and products you can purchase at your local Polaris dealer. Take the advice of action sports legend Levi LaValle and visit Polaris on the web at Polaris.com to see the full lineup of Polaris vehicles, or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris Razor. Your life demands a tire that provides durability, comfort, and performance, and that's what General Tire delivers for you. From the all-season grip of the Grabber UHP to the comfort and on-road manners of the Grabber HTS to the durability and off-road traction of the Grabber AT2, General has a tire that will help get you where you need to go. So let us take you on your next big adventure. Tweet us at General Tire, hashtag anywhere is possible, because with General Tire, anywhere is possible. Baja, check. King of the Hammers, check. Crandon, check. The Mint 400, check. Only one wheel company can say they have dominated the deserts and rocks of the Southwest to the mud and carnage of the big house at Crandon, and that company is KMC Wheels. KMC Wheels has won them all with the help of elite drivers like Travis Pastrana, Ricky Johnson, Bryce Menzies, Carl Renazetter, and Lauren Healy, who all rely on the XT Series from KMC Wheels to get them to the finish line and on top of the podium. Check out KMC Wheels and their full line of XT Series wheels at KMCWheels.com or on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at KMC Wheels. KMC Wheels, like no other.
Life is all about sound. The sound of sports. The sound at the racetrack. And the sound of your vehicle. Don't drive around listening to this. Drive around listening to the sound of performance. Gibson Performance. Gibson Performance Exhaust is the company who can turn this into this. Remember that life is all about sound, and Gibson Exhaust is the sound of performance. Check out your next catback exhaust system, headers, muffler, or UTV exhaust at GibsonPerformance.com and get more power and more sound.
Rigid Industries is the original and #1 LED light bar manufacturer in the world. Torture tested by some of the best drivers in motorsports. Rigid LED lighting products use cutting-edge technology and can stand up to the harshest conditions Mother Nature can dish out. Designed, engineered, and assembled in the United States, Rigid LED lighting is the only choice for your off-road vehicle or boat. Find out more information on the entire line of Rigid Industries LED lighting products at www.rigidindustries.com.
Come to the island and rip it up this summer. Wakeboard Island. It's a skate park on water at Blue Water Resort and Casino. Check out the 2-tower cable system that pulls you and your board over the water. No boats to watch out for, no fumes. Wakeboard Island is open to all skill levels with an open center section for beginners and for trick riders, a double side kicker in a 60-foot flat box. Wakeboard Island, the best ride this side of the Rockies, adjacent to the River's Edge Cantina at Blue Water Resort and Casino on the Colorado River in Parker, Arizona.
Are you looking for a place to push yourself behind the wheel and see how your driving skills stack up? Dirtfish Rally School is that place. Located on 315 acres of pristine automotive playground at the foot of the Cascade Mountains in Snoqualmie, Washington, right outside of Seattle, Dirtfish Rally School is a one-of-a-kind place where everyone from first-time drivers to seasoned professionals like Bucky Lassick and Antoine Lestage can push themselves to their limit. Whether driving the high-performance rally-prepped all-wheel drive Subaru Impreza STI is what you're looking for, or you'd rather hang it all out in the rear-wheel drive Subaru BRZ, Dirtfish Rally School has something for everyone. Classes are available from 2 hours to 3 full days and feature instructors with over 150 years of combined racing experience. Whether you're looking to become the best and get an edge on the competition, or just looking to freshen your skills behind the wheel, Dirtfish Rally School is the place to go. For more information on registering for classes, visit Dirtfish on the web at dirtfish.com, or to check out the latest happenings from Dirtfish, follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Dirtfish Rally. Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. I'm your host, Jim Beaver. Just got done with Patrik Sandell, Red Bull GRC driver, Ford Fiesta, Lowe's Cobalt Tools. Just a solid guy, and fun to watch. Fun to see his career progress. He's always had a ton of talent. He's finally figuring out this rallycross thing, and victory last year at DC, victory this year in Detroit, another podium in DC. He's definitely getting it figured out, and he's won, if you remember back when they had Gymkhana Grid a couple years ago in X Games, Patrik was one of those guys that at that point relatively unknown. It's his first year in GRC, I believe, and here comes Patrik, this guy nobody'd ever heard of, and he took home a medal in Gymkhana Grid. Tells you the type of talent. I mean, to be successful at Gymkhana, I mean, you've got, you look at the guys that have been very successful at it. Tanner Faust, Ken Block, David Higgins has been very, very good at Gymkhana Grid. You look at those type of guys and what they bring to that type of motorsport, and it's a diverse background, So for Patrik to be successful there, along with those names, I mean, it's says a lot about him as a professional racing driver. And I know you follow him on social media, and he's all over the place, always pushing himself, whether it be downhill mountain bikes or go-karting. It's just he's always trying to push himself and do something and get better. So very cool catching up with Patrik Sandell. Good friend of mine, and awesome to see his growth and and his successes this year. I mean, this has definitely been a breakthrough year for him. And you look at his times on paper, and like I said, he's so much faster, and he's had such a better season than that fifth place in points. I would say, like he said, I mean, Block's going to be tough to catch this year. He's going to be ridiculous tough to catch this year. He's had that good of a season. Last year he had the bad luck. This year he's definitely had a bit of good luck, and he's having a phenomenal season. And I don't think he's leaving it up to chance. I think it's going to be wrapped up by the time they get to Vegas. But Block's had that kind of season. But I think Patrik Sandell, and you can put this in writing. I think 2016 he's going to be one of the favorites for the championship, which leads me to our next guest, Chris Leone from Red Bull GRC, media manager there, and like I like to say, the world's foremost expert on all things rallycross. How's it going, Chris?
I am doing well, Jim. How you doing?
Yeah, pretty good, man. Patrik Sandell, always fun to catch up with him. It's been, I don't know, maybe a year and a half since I've caught up with him actually on air, and lots changed there, but he's having, like I said, and you'll be the first to probably agree with me, he's been so much faster this year than his fifth place in points shows.
Oh, absolutely. Patrik could very easily have 3 or 4 wins right now, be leading this championship. He had a couple mistakes there. He had a little bit of bad luck, but, that happens to pretty much every single driver in our series, and that's what keeps it close, and that's what's keeping it interesting heading into Los Angeles.
Yeah, well, and even he said, with any motorsport, there's luck involved. I mean, it's just that's why it's called motorsport. I mean, that's why it's horse racing. That's why there's odds and everything else. But I think he said it. I said it, and I think the past 2 or 3 years we've seen it. But Red Bull GRC is in such a better place right now. The racing on track is top notch. I mean, very close finishes. A lot of the cars are really close. I mean, you look at like the military base venue. I mean, absolute remarkable track there. I don't know if you could design one any better. All the drivers loved it. Had a great mix of gravel and tarmac. I mean, tip of the cap to Red Bull GRC for making that event happen.
Oh, absolutely. We've been doing everything that we possibly could to put on the best show that we could this year. Designing the best tracks that we can has been a number one priority for this season. We've been putting a lot of effort into trying to make the tracks larger, make the tracks wider, give drivers more opportunities to pass. We've experimented a little bit with the Cobalt Tools Joker lap, and as you saw in Detroit, it could make a massive difference in a race. And we've made it a priority to design the best possible tracks that we can for this year, especially given that we do have temporary venues. We do set these tracks up for race weekend and then bring them down. And I think you're going to see some more really exciting things in the next couple of races in Los Angeles and Barbados, and then finally the season ender in Las Vegas.
Yeah. Well, in talking about that, I mean, we talked about, Patrik's season and stuff like that, but, we could talk about this guy all show long, but I want to get to it and then we can move on. But this year, I mean, I felt like coming into this year, Ken Block had a chip on his shoulder and he wasn't leaving anything up to chance. And I think we've seen that this year. I mean, he laid down the gauntlet and said, hey, this is my championship. You guys bring it if you want to take it from me.
Oh, definitely. I mean, Ken has been driving his tail off all season long. I think he absolutely feels like last year's championship should have been his to win, and, he's been doing everything he can to make up for that this year. We've seen multiple wins from him. We've seen a lot of other strong performances. I know that he's had a couple of races that he hasn't been satisfied with, but again, every driver has that. And, Ken has just mitigated the mistakes. He's kept himself out of trouble. He hasn't ended up in a last chance qualifier yet this season. So, that's another crucial thing, because that means that you're starting in the top 6 spots in the final, every single time. And just putting yourself there gives you a chance. Just putting yourself in the front half of the field when we start the main event gives you a great chance to come out of there with some solid points and, maybe even a victory. And, he's done that 3 times this year, and that's a big part of the reason why he's got the championship lead heading into the second half of the year.
Yeah. Well, and I know, just looking down, the Drivers' Championship and guys that have had good seasons, I mean, Sebastian Eriksson, sitting second in points. You and I both know him from Lights. He went to Europe, did his thing in Europe, took home a championship over there. But coming back, I mean, I think we all knew he was going to be good. I don't think I know I didn't, and I like to think I know a little bit about rallycross. I didn't think he would be this good. I mean, this kid has just been remarkable.
Yeah, Sebastian's been really consistent. He's been really, he's let the car come to him. He's been fairly patient. He has found a way to slot in with the rest of these drivers who have been racing one another almost exclusively in rallycross for the past couple of years. We didn't really have a lot of driver turnover from last season to this year. There were only a couple of names that disappeared and only one or two that came on, at least in the supercar class. Sebastian being, the biggest name to jump in. And, he has just gone out there and proven right away, hey, I am always going to be able to mix it up with you guys. I'm right there. I've got the skills. I've got the mindset. I can challenge for this championship the same way that Yoni did last year, and Yoni eventually came out on top. So, Sebastian had a chip on his shoulder himself after losing out on that lights title to Yoni a couple of years ago. So, he's come into this year with just as much motivation as Ken did, and that's a big part of the reason why they're 1-2.
Yeah. Well, and then a guy that we've always said was a bit of a dark horse, but I honestly, my mind's blown this year and how fast and how good he has become, and that's Austin Dine.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, when Austin came out of GRC Lights, one of the first things that he said was, the supercar just suits me so much better. He said at the beginning of last year, we wanted to be a supercar title contender in 2015. So we had two options. We could either stay a second year in the lights car and then move up in 15, or move up in the supercar right away, get acclimated, have some decent runs there, and then really build a powerhouse for 15 being his second year in supercars. Obviously, that's the plan they chose, and it has really worked to perfection. Austin is that driver who always finds a way to get himself into the main event. He's had a couple of instances where he's had to go through the LCQ to get there, but he keeps his nose clean. He knows exactly what he needs to do to get the points that he needs to stay in the title race. And, he's looking for that first win, though. He's going to be hungry coming into LA. It's his home race. He's got a new sponsor on board. They've got their work cut out for them to get that first win, but, we've seen all season long, Austin has just been incredibly fast and consistent. And, that first race is going to come to him. He's going to let it come to him. He's not going to do anything stupid to try and force something. He's really become a very patient, talented supercar driver, and I can tell you it's going to be quite the party when he gets that first victory, because it's only a matter of time.
Yeah. Well, and I got to ask you, how about the curious case of the Volkswagens? They've had such highs and lows this year. I think coming in, I mean, to be honest with you, I had Scott Speed pegged as a title favorite, and he's still one of the fastest guys in Red Bull GRC. But between him and Tanner, I mean, this year just hasn't gone their way.
Well, hey, I mean, the number one thing to think about there is whenever you make some major changes to a vehicle, and we've seen that with multiple cars in this series this year, whenever you make major changes to your equipment, you're going to go through some growing pains. It's a fact of motorsport. And I would say that those podium finishes, Scott taking gold at X Games, Tanner taking a win in Daytona, all of the podiums that Scott has accrued otherwise are more representative of where that team is at than the negative results. Obviously having the couple of failures at New River that they did, that was the first time and is still the only time that both of the Volkswagens missed the final in Red Bull GRC competition. It's the only time over the past 2 years. Yeah. So it's not like they've started from scratch. It's not like they've had to reinvent the wheel there. It's just making sure that new equipment, functions the way that it's designed to. And again, that's a common thing in motorsport. Just look at the McLaren Hondas in F1, how their season has gone. And they have nothing to hang their heads about. Scott is still very much in the championship race. One or two lucky breaks in LA and Tanner will be right back up there too. He was leading the points as recently as 2 months ago in Daytona. So, yeah. It's one of those things where, yeah, it goes back and forth a little bit, but the way that our point system is designed really promotes, if you can string a couple of good races together, you can really get right back there. I mean, a win is 50 points, and missing the main event is one. So if one driver has bad luck, it just opens up everything for everyone else.
Yeah. Well, and looking at the points, I mean, talking about that, we talk about the successes of Austin Dye, and he's sitting fourth in points, but I have to mention, I mean, he's sitting in fourth, and you've got a guy who I think's had a solid year, Steve Arpin, down in eighth. But to be honest with you, only 14 points are separating them. So, I mean, it could be very easily, you could see Steve Arpin in fourth in points after the doubleheader. I mean, it's just the point system is so crazy that, you see those big swings, and there's so many drivers so tight in there at this point, it's just all up in the air.
Yeah, absolutely. And Steve has been kind of in that position for a majority of the year where, yeah, he's been between 6th and 8th in the standings, but he's never been more than maybe 15 points away from, being up in the top 3 or at least challenging for it. It's so close, and everybody is just so evenly matched. It's, we really do have the cream of the crop in this sport, in this series. Everybody is right there with one another. Everybody is able to take one another on and, really get some good results, but the next weekend have it just as likely that they just totally get outraced by, everybody who's around them. I mean, like, for example, let's take a look at Nelson Piquet's season so far. Nelson's third in points, and Nelson has been one of the fastest, most consistent drivers all year long. He's taken podiums in Fort Lauderdale, New River, took that first win finally for SH Racing in DC. But then you look at his results in the double headers, and they just haven't been quite the same. He had a couple of mechanical issues that really hurt him in Detroit. He had some contact in Daytona. And yet, even after Daytona, even after 2 results where that team really felt like they could do better, they were still fourth in points after Daytona heading into New River. So, it's so evenly matched. I don't want to call it, something that's really left up to lottery, but in some ways, all of these drivers are so evenly matched with one another. And it's the same way in the lights class too, by the way, that, it really can be up to chance. If you have one good weekend, then you can really make a statement in this championship, and that's what makes it fun, and that's what makes it exciting.
Yeah, and we'll definitely get to lights in a minute, but I do want to mention before we switch gears and start talking some lights, big weekend coming up for, in 2 weeks for Subaru. Bringing in Pastrana, bringing in Higgins, STI, the event sponsor. Subaru, they're all in with a doubleheader in LA, and I got to tell you, if there's one guy, we all know Pastrana's going to push, but if there's one guy that every driver in the grid in GRC knows and fears and gets nervous when he shows up to an event, and that's David Higgins, because this guy, he brings it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll start with Subaru's commitment to this race. Bringing in Subaru Technica International as our presenting sponsor has been huge. They've got so many awesome things, up their sleeve for this event. They've got so many cool things that they're going to be doing for Subaru owners to help promote this event and bring them in and get people excited. So that's really cool. They unveiled the new liveries last week, which I think are some of the best that we've got on Trek. It's going to be cool to see Sver and Bucky take those 2015 STIs up against the field. But, yeah, seeing what David Higgins has done in stage rally this year and just seeing him go, I believe it's 7 for 7 now. Yeah. It's just been incredibly impressive. So it's going to be fun to see what happens when you put him, wheel to wheel with, some of the best race drivers in the world. Obviously, Travis is Travis. Travis can win at anything, in anything, if you give him a fighting chance. That's exactly what they're going to do. I think it's funny. I think it's going to be interesting to see who finishes better, Higgins or Pastrana, because I'm sure that Travis is more than ready to finally finish ahead of David at something this season.
And it's funny you mention that because, and that's it. Travis, he was up front. Their teammates. Higgins has this perfect season going in stage rally at Rally America. I'm up there this weekend, and Pastrana's right there. Higgins is right there, and he's like, Jimmy, I want to break this streak. And Higgins is there. Their teammates, you would think normally would be like, oh, it'll be good for Subaru. No, Travis like, no, I'm bringing it. I want to be the one to break the streak. So, no, these two guys, is funny because you talk with them and they're very good friends. But, no, they're when they get on track, these guys, they want to beat each other bad. It's quite funny.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Travis has some unfinished business in Rallycross anyway this year. He went out to X Games. He had the pace, but he just, he caught a bad break in his heat race and ended up finishing last in it. And, was not able to advance, was not able to fight for a medal. So, he's got some unfinished business, and LA is as good of a place as any, for him to try and make that up, especially with 2 opportunities to do so on Saturday and Sunday. It'll be, though, like you said, it will be fun to see Higgins competing against everybody in Rallycross again. Last year he had one appearance. He was, he brought the fight to everybody. He made it to the main event. He was running up there, and he had to overcome some incidents to actually run where he did. So it was a fairly impressive run, but he wants more. He wants to add some sort of hardware from Los Angeles to all of those stage rally victories this year. And I think he's going to be fairly disappointed if he walks out of LA without anything to add to the trophy case.
Yeah, for sure. And one last question on supercars before we switch gears. But I saw a post, I think it was last week, from Reese Millen, that he's going to be back in the Hyundai in Barbados. I don't know if he's made a formal announcement, but he put it out on Instagram, so I got to bring it up to you. So have you heard anything? Is Reese going to be in Barbados in the Hyundai?
Well, you got the word straight from the horse's mouth, so I would never doubt Reese Millen when he says anything.
Okay.
And that'll certainly be fun to watch. Everybody loves watching Reese race. He had 2 victories last year. He's one of the best drivers we've ever had, and so it's going to be really cool to see him competing again. Don't count out RMR as potentially having entries at any of the races remaining this year.
Yeah.
Obviously, they've got the 2-car lights program, and, hey, if they've got a supercar in the hauler, which they normally do, it's why not bring it out to race? Why not break it out? You might as well have some fun with it if you've got it. It'll be really cool to see Reese race again. I know he hasn't formally announced it, but since he said it on Instagram, yeah, we can put it out there.
Yeah.
It'll be fun to watch him compete in Barbados again. He had an interesting showing last year with the door just completely taped back onto the vehicle. So I'm sure he's hoping for a little less Bondo this year and a little more running up front this time around in Barbados. But we've all seen that he has the car to do it.
Yeah. Well, and I do have to mention, Reese, it's not just another named driver in the series. It's another named driver with a car in his hauler that has actually won a lot of races. So I think that's a note. I mean, it's not just an also-ran. It's a guy coming in that can take victories, and I think that's what's huge. You add, not only a veteran driver, but a car that can take victories in the mix, and that makes it exciting.
Yeah, precisely. I mean, he did it in Daytona and Los Angeles last year, 2 of our most high-profile events on 2 of our best racetracks in front of 2 of our strongest fields.
Yeah.
So, whenever you drop a guy like that in, you're bound to see some, real exciting racing, and you're bound to see just one more person who really has a chance to contend.
Yeah. Well, and switching gears now, talking some lights. This year has been the year that I think GRC's needed for the lights. I mean, we've seen dominant performances, the past couple of years from Mitchell and Yoni, but this year the shakeup. I mean, not only the shakeup, but it seems like we've had so many drivers up front leading the championship. But the young talent coming in and the sheer amount of entries. I mean, it's been phenomenal.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you've had drivers coming from across the globe trying to get into these cars, and some of them have come in and just really been impressive right off the bat. DC, we had multiple new entries, and we've had new entries at pretty much every race this year for lights, and some of the lights rookies, if you want to call them that, since given his experience testing that car back in 2012, I guess you could call Tanner Whitten anything but a lights rookie.
Yeah.
Their performances have been incredibly impressive. Miles Maroney jumping into the second Dreyer and Reinbold lights car at the last minute in Fort Lauderdale, stringing together a race-by-race deal that came into a full-season deal, and now he's leading the points. I mean, that's an incredible feat to pull off in any racing series, regardless of where he finishes in the championship. Going from not having a ride firmed up, just days before the event, to leading the points coming into Los Angeles is incredibly impressive. You have Austin Cindric, who, took 2 victories, including his first race with Olsbergs, and Oliver Eriksson got his first victory too. You have Alex Keys, who took 2 victories. And somehow Alejo Fernandez has kind of gone the Yoni Weeman route. Hasn't taken that main event victory yet, but he's right there in the championship. He has been all year. He was one of the title favorites entering the season. There have been so many fast drivers, so many talented drivers who have jumped into these cars this year, and it's really a 5-way title fight at this point for GRC Lights. So it's going to be fun to watch them try to settle that in the next few events, because anything can happen and anything has.
Yeah. Well, and the funny thing is you mentioned that, 5-way title fight, and I look at these 5 drivers, that are mixed in, and, Miles, Alejo, Oliver, Austin, and Tanner, and not just them, but all 5 of them I potentially see in the years to come, them, in supercar seats. I don't think any one of them would surprise us if, they popped up 2-3 years down the road in a supercar.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm sure that you will see whoever wins the championship out of the 5 of them, will end up in a supercar, at least testing this, for next season. That's really what GRC Lights is designed to do. It's designed to bring up people right away. We all saw last year just how quick a GRC Lights champion can be in the right supercar with what Yoni was able to do. And, I think we're going to see the same thing for, whoever ends up winning this year's championship. I think they're going to land a ride. I would not be surprised at all. I would actually be fairly surprised if they didn't land a ride. And with that, it's just such a competitive series. It just prepares you so well to strap into a supercar. There's not much more that you can say for a developmental series in NZ Formula Racing than that. That's exactly what you want it to do, and that's exactly what GRC Lights has done so far.
Yeah. Well, and we gotta mention two lady racers in in lights, and specifically Colette Davis. I know she's become a fan favorite.
Yeah, Colette has done a great job of promoting herself and putting herself out there, just really making sure that she, that she engages with fans, that she gives them something to talk about. And I know that some of the results haven't been what she's wanted, and they haven't been what she's shown in terms of pace, but, she's been incredibly impressive. I think with a couple more years and with a couple more lucky breaks, she's very much got a chance to drive a supercar, sooner than later. That's one of the things that Brian Houde said at the beginning of the season when he decided to bring Colette on, because, 2 days before our media day, 2 days before that thing was announced, that deal wasn't together. So,
yeah, she hadn't even driven the car at that point. I remember.
Yeah, exactly.
They make the announcement at media day, and somebody asked her, what do you think of driving the lights car? And she's like, haven't driven one yet.
Yeah, and then she goes out in Fort Lauderdale, leads lap 1 of her GRC Lights career, and, was running up in the top 5 in the final before that incident. Yeah. So, her resolve has been incredibly impressive this year. She's put down some fast laps, and it's really just a matter of time, until something really good happens for her. When you look at the stats, when you look at the points, when you look at the best finishes and things like that, they really don't tell the full story of her season so far this year.
Yeah, no, totally agree. All right, before we let you go, where can people find ticket information for LA? And give us all the details, buddy.
Yep, Red Bull GRC Los Angeles, presented by Subaru Technica International, will be open to the public Saturday, September 12th and Sunday, September 13th. RedBullGlobalRallycross.com/tickets. We've got promotional codes floating all around the internet for 20% off. I'm not going to give them out over the air. You people are just going to have to go find them yourselves. They're not hard to find, trust me. But yeah, we'll have 20% off codes all floating around the internet. We'll be on air on September 13th at 4 p.m. Eastern on NBC, your local NBC affiliate. And don't forget the GRC Lights mid-season recap is going to be on the NBC Sports Network on September 9th, just leading into that event. So, be sure to check that out for some awesome GRC Lights driver features.
Nice. And before we let you go, I got to put you on the spot. You tweeted me, why shouldn't the Cardinals have RG3?
Because he's washed up. Jim,
washed up?
He's washed up.
I don't know. I go back to his rookie year and just remember how remarkable he was. And I look at Palmer, and we made the playoffs last year with a third-string quarterback. I love Carson Palmer, but we need some backups. And what better backup is there than RG3? I don't know.
Oh man, you say what you want, Jim. I am not convinced that he's got anything left in the tank. I'm just really not.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but then again, I'm also the guy who had Mark Sanchez on my fantasy team last year, so I guess I don't really know much about quarterbacks.
Yeah, well, I don't. And here's a question I saw: Patriots, they didn't make a ruling yet. I guess the NFL delayed on the Tom Brady ruling, which I think they need to just throw out. To be honest with you, I think it's ridiculous. But what's the latest on that? Not that this is a football show, but I got to ask.
I have nothing radio friendly to say about Deflategate.
Yeah,
it's a sham.
Yeah.
I mean, and yeah, you know where I live, so obviously you know whose side I'm going to be on, but there are just so many holes in that investigation and things like that. I am glad that I don't work for any organizations that carry out sport-related rulings that way. That's the one thing I'll say to you right now, because if I was working PR for the NFL, I would be preparing a resume right now, because it has been, and they've done a terrible job, straight up.
Well, like I've said before, and I'll say it again, and this will be a good place to leave this, but the winner in this always, and will always be, as long as she stays married to him, Tom Brady, because he goes home to Gisele Bündchen every night.
Yeah, how does it feel to be one of the most legendary quarterbacks in the NFL and still make less money than your wife? That's what I want to know.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, it doesn't matter what contract he signs, he'll always have a sugar mama, I guess, right?
Fair enough. Fair enough.
All right, Chris. Well, good talking with you, buddy, and we'll catch up soon, maybe after LA.
Yeah, absolutely, Jim. Thanks for having me on, and since I'm sure I won't be on 2 weeks in a row, happy birthday to my dad. It's going to be his birthday a week from Monday, so I figure I'll just, shout him out now.
All right, awesome. Well, thanks a lot, buddy, and have some fun in LA.
Yep, talk to you soon, Jim. Thank you.
All right, take it easy, buddy. All right, that was Chris Leone with Red Bull Global Rallycross. And, skip over to Red Bull GRC's website. Grab some tickets to L.A. It's going to be a great one. Our friends at Subaru sponsoring that event. And 4 Subarus, not only Bucky and Sver, but we've got Higgins and Pastrana jumping in there. And, it's going to be a full-field doubleheader. Beautiful backdrop there in San Pedro. And, it's just an awesome venue, an awesome event. Definitely, if you're in the LA area, you want to make it out there. It's going to be a couple of days definitely well spent. And hopefully the weather's solid for those boys. But we're going to take a short break. When we come back, speaking of David Higgins, Travis Pastrana, we have those podium interviews with Pastrana and Higgins from Rally America Radio over the weekend. We're going to be airing those, and we'll be talking Rally America and breaking down the Ojibwe Forest Rally. And then we've also got Amy Houde to cap off the show. So an hour left here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, and we got a lot more to come. So stay tuned to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor.
I'm RJ Anderson, factory Polaris driver, and I drive Polaris because it's the most capable, race-ready off-road vehicle on the market.
When R.J. Anderson wanted to set a world record for the longest UTV jump in history, not once but twice, what company did he trust? Polaris and their championship-winning Razor XP1000. R.J. is a UTV champion behind the wheel of Polaris vehicles, and he exclusively trusts the Polaris Razors to bring him race wins and championships against some of the toughest off-road racers in the world. The same Polaris Razors RJ has won championships in, set world records in, and conquered the Wall of Death in XP1K2 are available to you at your local Polaris dealer. Take the advice of world record holder RJ Anderson and visit Polaris on the web at Polaris.com to see the full lineup of Polaris Razor vehicles, or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris Razor. For 100 years, General Tire has provided tires for your lifestyle, your adventure, your anywhere. Born from competition, the Grabber tire offers the durability and off-road traction you demand in a tire. We put these tires to the test in the harshest off-road racing conditions to give you a tire that will make your anywhere possible. So let us take you on your next big adventure. Tweet us photos at General Tire, hashtag anywhere is possible. Because with General Tire, anywhere is possible. Baja, check. King of the Hammers, check. Crandon, check. The Mint 400, check. Only one wheel company can say they have dominated the deserts and rocks of the Southwest to the mud and carnage of the big house at Crandon, and that company is KMC Wheels. KMC Wheels has won them all with the help of elite drivers like Travis Pastrana, Ricky Johnson, Bryce Menzies, Carl Renazetter, and Lauren Healy, who all rely on the XT Series from KMC Wheels to get them to the finish line and on top of the podium. Check out KMC Wheels and their full line of XT Series wheels at KMCWheels.com or on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at KMC Wheels. KMC Wheels, like no other. Are you looking for a place to push yourself behind the wheel and see how your driving skills stack up? Dirtfish Rally School is that place. Located on 315 acres of pristine automotive playground at the foot of the Cascade Mountains in Snoqualmie, Washington, right outside of Seattle, Dirtfish Rally School is a one-of-a-kind place where everyone from first-time drivers to seasoned professionals like Bucky Lassick and Antoine Lestage can push themselves to their limit. Whether driving the high-performance rally-prepped all-wheel drive Subaru Impreza STI is what you're looking for, or you'd rather hang it all out in the rear-wheel drive Subaru BRZs, Dirtfish Rally School has something for everyone. Classes are available from 2 hours to 3 full days and feature instructors with over 150 years of combined racing experience. Whether you're looking to become the best and get an edge on the competition, or just looking to freshen your skills behind the wheel, Dirtfish Rally School is the place to go. For more information on registering for classes, visit Dirtfish on the web at dirtfish.com, or to check out the latest happenings from Dirtfish, follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Dirtfish Rally.
Life is all about sound, the sound of sports, the sound at the racetrack, and the sound of your vehicle. Don't drive around listening to this. Drive around listening to the sound of performance. Gibson Performance. Gibson Performance Exhaust is the company who can turn this into this. Remember that life is all about sound, and Gibson Exhaust is the sound of performance. Check out your next catback exhaust system, headers, muffler, or UTV exhaust at GibsonPerformance.com and get more power and more sound.
Looking to upgrade the brake system on your race car, pre-runner, or weekend toy? J-Mar Performance Brake Systems has you covered. An industry leader in performance braking systems, J-Mar can outfit your vehicle with the highest quality American-made calipers, rotors, master cylinders, hubs, turning brakes, and shifters for Volkswagens to trophy trucks and everything in between. For more information and their full product line, visit J-Mar on the web at jmarperformance.com or follow them on Instagram and Twitter at J-Mar Brakes.
Come to the island and rip it up this summer. Wakeboard Island. It's a skate park on water at Blue Water Resort and Casino. Check out the 2-tower cable system that pulls you and your board over the water. No boats to watch out for, no fumes. Wakeboard Island is open to all skill levels with an open center section for beginners, and for trick riders, a double side kicker and a 60-foot flat box. Wakeboard Island, the best ride this side of the Rockies. Adjacent to the River's Edge Cantina at Blue Water Resort and Casino on the Colorado River in Parker, Arizona.
to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. I'm your host, Jim Beaver. That's at JimBeaver15 on Instagram and Twitter. Tweet me if you got any questions. We are going to be talking some Rally America Ojibwe Forest Rally coming up in our Dirtfish Rally Report. And Amy Houde going to cap off the show. You got any questions for Amy? Be sure and shoot those over to me at JimBeaver15. 2 wheels, 4 wheels, it doesn't matter. Amy Houde will answer just about anything, so definitely shoot them over, and we'll get those asked on air. Have to mention our guest last week, my boy Vaughn Gittin Jr. He was our guest, and after a hellacious crash at the Formula Drift event in Texas, finding the wall, very scary, able to walk away. He went into his Trans Am debut in a Mustang this weekend, going to do a little road racing, switch gears. If you didn't listen to that interview last week, you definitely need to skip back in the archives and catch it. But happy to say his Trans Am debut, 29 cars in class, and Vaughn Gittin walking away with a 5th place finish. Ridiculously solid effort by Vaughn Gittin Jr., 5th out of 29 in his debut. I guess if FD doesn't work out for him, he's always got a career in road racing. But a remarkable effort, man. Props to Vaughn Gittin Jr. on that. I know his goal was a top 10 to finish 5th out of 29. To be honest with you, that's I don't know. I don't think you can ask for much more. I mean, that's Trans Am, I mean, those Mustangs, legit road racing, 5th out of 29, solid effort. So congrats goes out to Vaughn Gittin Jr. on that. Right now we're going to kickstart our Dirtfish Rally Report, brought to you by our good friends at Dirtfish Rally School. Find out more information on the web, www.dirtfish.com. And if you're looking for a discount code, switch over to downanddirtyshow.com. Pull up one of our most recent archive shows, or if you're tuning in on the website right now and not one of our amazing affiliates, you can find that info for 10% off right there at the bottom, where you see the show and the show summary. We got the 10% off code. I'm not going to give it on air, but I'm telling you where to find it. 10% off any trip to Dirtfish Rally School. I was just up there last month doing some training. Had my boy Levi LaValle and Cole Coutu with me, and good times had by all, so definitely go and check out Dirtfish. So we're going to get into this Rally America coverage brought to you by Dirtfish Rally School. And, like we said in the lead-in, if you don't know by now, if you I guess, don't have any social media accounts whatsoever, and you don't follow any rally whatsoever, you wouldn't know. But David Higgins, once again, coming out on top. Higgins and Drew, as Higgins likes to call him, the voice of speed, Craig Drew. 7 in a row in 2015 in Rally America, going for the perfect season. Hasn't happened since John Buffum way back when, and anytime you bring John Buffum's name into an equation, absolute rally legend. He's in the Off-Road Motorsports Hall of Fame, I might add. It's something special, because Buffum, one of the greatest rally drivers in history as far as I'm concerned, and probably the most decorated American rally driver ever. But to bring David Higgins' name up, alongside Buffum, I mean, it's just tremendous. And I've had the opportunity to meet Buffum and see him on a monthly basis, I guess, this year at Rally America, and just an awesome guy, and the stories he has to tell are second to none. David Higgins once again winning Open Class. And and walking away with victory number 7, outright victory number 7. Second place, Travis Pastrana, Chrissy Beavis. And Travis, at times, he was pushing David. I know there for a while they were swapping stage wins. So Travis definitely bringing his A game. You talk with him and Chrissy both, and they've re-gelled in the car and re-energized. And I think 2016 and beyond, these two are definitely going to be able to push Higgins. They did it at Ojibwe, and I think we're going to continue to see that. And then finding his way onto the national the open outright podium in a super production car, Nick Roberts, Rhiannon Gelsomino. Solid effort by Nick, taking home the victory. Taking home the victory in his home event. And finishing in SP, on top and national podium or outright podium. Solid effort. Lachlan O'Sullivan, he was 4th outright, 2nd in super production, and he's locking up that 2015 championship in super production, and solid effort by him. Solid effort all year long by him and Scott Putnam. And then Peter Fatella, 5th outright, 3rd in open class. Got to give credit to him. He's had some struggles all year long with that car, but continues to push and find his way into top 5 overall. Very, very solid. And then Cameron Steele, finally breaking through this year with a victory in that brand new Ford Fiesta ST. They've had some teething issues, but him and Preston Osborne, 6th outright, 1st in 2-wheel drive. Great effort by them. And then Futoshi Murasi from Japan in the Honda Civic, 2nd in 2-wheel drive, 7th outright. Great effort by those guys. James Robinson, 3rd in 2-wheel drive, 1st in B-Specs, 8th outright. Tremendous effort in a B-Spec car by James Robinson. You got to give him credit. It's just a remarkable speed. If you're not familiar with B-Spec, if you're not a big rally fan or don't follow it, B-Spec is basically a stock class vehicle, just completely stock. With just a few minor upgrades. So a tremendous effort by him. And then Steve LaRosa, my off-road buddy, 3rd in 2-wheel drive. I guess actually 4th in 2-wheel drive behind James Robinson, 9th outright. And then Troy Miller, who locked up the championship in 2-wheel drive. He is your 2015 2-wheel drive champion in Rally America. He finished 10th outright. So those are your top 10 finishers. Notables, though, I know a lot of you wondering, what happened to the FY guys? What happened to the FY guys? So Adam Yeoman, day 2, ended up he was having a solid effort. But he ended up having a leaky fuel cell, some kind of leak in the fuel system. It was unrepairable, and they said there was 2 problems. One, they were going to run out of fuel. And 2, fuel is fuel, and you don't want to be racing with leaking fuel. It was because things go boom. So Yeoman had to withdraw. Definitely LSPR. I'm sure you're going to see him. That's his home event up there in the UP of Michigan. So Yeoman and the FY boys will be back, and then Brenton Kelly, the other FY Racing entry, my Dirtfish Rally School teammate. Brenton actually, he's having some troubles on the first day. Finished up, though. Somehow overnight, he got sick. I don't know if it was the flu or food poisoning or what, but he woke up and was absolutely physically unable to compete. I think that'll be the easiest way to put it. Physically unable to compete the second day of the rally. So definitely a bummer by him. He had definitely had a shot at doing something really amazing this weekend with some of the guys that dropped out and whatnot. But definitely bummer from him. And then Antoine Lestage, the Rocket Racing entry of Antoine Lestage. Great to see him come this side of the border and compete in that factory Subaru Canada car. And Antoine cut a little too much on a don't cut, and sounds like that was basically the day ender there. And Antoine will be the first to tell you, I just flat made a mistake. So even the best of them, and I would definitely consider Antoine Lestage one of the best. Even the best of them make mistakes. So moving into LSPR later on, this year, late October, the storyline is Higgins. Open class wrapped up, super production wrapped up, 2-wheel drive wrapped up, B-Spec wrapped up. David Higgins, can he keep it perfect? 7 for 7. He's going 8 for 8. That is the storyline. Can the perfect season happen? Can Higgins and Drew keep it rolling? To be determined. I think they've definitely got a good shot at it. And at this point, Higgins wants it. But he's had some guys gunning for him. New England, Block shows up. Pastrana shows up. We had M Sport show up with Raman Alagaman. It's not like he's had it easy, and it hasn't been easy even this last round. Breaking an axle or a half shaft, I guess. And Higgins losing a ton of time, but Pastrana just happened to have some problems as well, and double flat on one stage, and hadn't been easy on Higgins. This hadn't been handed to him, that's for sure. But he's pushing, man. He wants it bad. So can he go 8 for 8? To be determined at this point. We'll find out at LSPR. But being that I am the host of Rally America Radio, travel to all the Rally America events, we happen to have some interviews with the winners and the podium finishers. So here is David Higgins, Travis Pastrana, and Nick Roberts, some interviews with them. So we're going to air these interviews, and when we come back, chat some more here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. So if you got any questions, be sure and tweet me while we air this clip at JimBeaver15. So here's David Higgins, Travis Pastrana, and Nick Roberts direct from Detroit Lakes, Minnesota, Saturday night. All right, we're coming at you from The podiums here at Rally America Ojibwe Rally, round 7 of 8 at the 2015 Rally America National Championship. And thanks to a lot of you who tuned in for our live coverage on Periscope of the 2015 Ojibwe Street Stages brought to you by Subaru. But we're going to get to some winners here in just a second for some interviews, so hang tight. All right, catching up here with event winner David Higgins. I got to tell you, man, you earned this one. Not an easy one by any means.
No, it was a good rally, but today where we were hoping we could just, we backed off a little bit today, thinking we can just try and nurse it, keep out of trouble. But rallying's never that easy. And then we had Travis had his flat tyres, so we got a real comfortable lead. So there was no need to go crazy, but just randomly half shaft broke or came out or something. So. We tried a slightly different setup to give us more grip and everything in the sand. I think we'd have just been a little bit stretched and landing with a bit of lock on. Did it, but we managed to make a repair and bunged the side of the gearbox up and did the next stage with it and didn't lose too much time. And then from then onwards, it was just a case of just nurse the car home to the end and try and keep the win, which was brilliant for the team, and a 1-2 for Subaru again.
Yeah. And I got to ask you, you coming off this win, 7 for 7 so far. You're moving into a GRC car here in 2 weeks. What are the predictions for Los Angeles? I know Subaru, big event there with their sponsorship of the event. You got 3 other teammates. Got to be pretty excited.
Yeah, my goal, anything that I do that's competitive, I go out there to give it my absolute best. And that's going to be no different in GRC. I'm going out there to give it everything, try and go for the win. And I've raced against those people before and other things and had good results. So if we can get a good car set up, and we all know with GRC you need a fair bit of luck as well. But we're going to go out there and give it our everything for both days. That's for sure. All right. Well, thanks a lot and congratulations, David. Thank you very much. All right, we got Nick Roberts here, super production winner. Also finding yourself on the national podium here, outright podium. You got to be pretty excited with the event, hometown event, coming away with a win. Pretty special.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's just incredible to be up here. I mean, we've had a good battle between us hometown guys in the SP, and to finish on top's great. Every event that we've finished this year, we've finished in first in SP, and we had our unfortunate mechanical DNFs that kind of plagued us early on, but we can definitely prove that we can be fast out there and have fun and keep it on the road. So it was a great event. I can't complain. The weather's beautiful, the fans are all great, and it's just been an absolute blast. I look forward to being back here next year. I mean, the roads here really are some of the best in the country, and they're definitely technical, and they definitely have some surprises for you if you're not careful.
All right, so 1 round left, heading into LSPR. What are the predictions, coming out of Nick Roberts Racing?
I'm actually not planning on doing LSPR. It'll all depend. I've got some other events that I'm scheduled to possibly be doing, and it kind of conflicts with LSPR. So, with the championship wrapped up with Lachlan, we're just going to save some money, and I think, unfortunately, not do that event, even though it's probably one of my favorite events. It was the first event I ever did, and the roads there are absolutely beautiful. So it's kind of an unfortunate thing. It's still up in the air at this point, but I hope we can make it, but unfortunately I don't know that it's going to look like we'll make it. So this might be our last Rally America event of the season.
Yeah, we'll definitely see you back in 2016, though.
Hopefully, yes, sir.
All right, thanks a lot, Nick. Congrats on the win.
All right, thanks, Jim.
All right, catching up here with Travis Pastrana. Big smiles, man. Found yourself on the podium again. I know you pushed David on a few stages, got him on one, I think. So, all in all, take us through the rally.
Man, it started off, on paper, started off great. We had the lead for a rally for the first time in quite some time. Got a stage win, but it was mostly because my 2 biggest competitors with Antoine, and David had flats. But today, of the 4 stages that David and I had no issues, I won 2, he won 2. We were within 3 seconds on all of those stages. So, I feel really good about how we were clicking in the car. Really excited about next year. Really excited about all the testing and the progress he's made on the new STI. So looking forward to getting into that. And this last drift stage was quite a good time. So it was good to put on some show for the fans.
Yeah, well, and I know in 2 weeks we're going to see another Subaru rally car back in GRC. Big event for Subaru. You got to be excited to be back in a car in GRC as well.
Yeah, huge event for STI and Subaru. I mean, it's the first time that we really had, in my opinion, really a good test day, a good feel. We have all 4 drivers. David is an amazing driver, amazing coach, but even better than that, he's an amazing tester. So to have him in GRC, I think it's going to help Bucky, it's going to help Sver, it's going to help myself, and I really think with having more Subarus in the field, it's not a team sport, but for sure it's good to have, and I wouldn't even go as far as allies, but people that aren't going to just take you out. So we got 4 of us there. We're really hoping for a good result out there.
All right, well, thanks a lot. Congratulations on the podium, Travis.
Hey, thank you very much.
All right, that was some podium interviews from Rally America, direct from downtown Detroit Lakes, right after the street stages that we live periscoped. And I got to tell you, those street stages were awesome. Tip of the cap to Detroit Lakes. Never seen anything quite like it, you know. I think the only thing I've ever seen in motorsports, you know, quite like it would be the start of the Parker 425 here in downtown Parker, Arizona, where we raced trophy trucks and buggies and stuff down Main Street. But street stage where they're actually drifting around corners and stuff, pretty remarkable. And Pastrana actually pulling over, and Higgins starting 30 seconds back of him, Pastrana pulling over during his, and then him and Higgins did some tandem drifting through the streets of Detroit Lakes. It was pretty awesome to see that tandem drift with the two Subarus there. So all good stuff, and thanks to all of you that tuned in at Rally America Radio. We'll definitely be back October 16th and 17th covering LSPR and upstate Michigan. So definitely, you know, if you're not going out to race that, tune into the Rally America Radio coverage, and hoping to add in some more Periscope coverage as well. So that was Rally America. Congrats goes out to Higgins and all our winners and champions. But wrap things up here, round 8 at LSPR in October. So this is the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. I'm Jim Beaver, and we'll be coming at you next with Amy Houde after this break. So if you got any questions for myself or Amy, tweet me at JimBeaver15. You can tag her at AmyHood71 if you want. We'll get those questions answered. And thanks to all you for tuning in. And we got a lot more coming here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. So hang tight. I'm Polaris rider Jim Beaver. I race trophy trucks professionally, host a Down and Dirty Radio show, and also travel the country announcing motorsports events. I've seen it all, and trust me, I've done most of it, so when it comes time to relax on the weekend, nothing is better than taking time with my family in our RZR vehicles. They've got the reliability I need to just pick up and go explore the desert, dunes, or trail, and have the capability to attack even the harshest terrain. If you're looking for some of the most reliable and safest, and hands down most capable off-road machines in the world, look no further than Polaris and their award-winning lineup of RZR vehicles. Whether you want your daughter to experience off-road driving for the first time in a RZR 170 like me, take the entire family out in a RZR XP4 1000 on the weekend, or shred the desert and dunes in the all-new RZR XP 1000 Fox Edition, Polaris has you handled. Take my advice and join me and some of the best drivers in the world by driving a Polaris RZR. Check out the full Polaris RZR lineup at Polaris.com, or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris RZR. For 100 years, General Tire has provided tires for your lifestyle, your adventure, your anywhere. Born from competition, the Grabber tire offers the durability and off-road traction you demand in a tire. We put these tires to the test in the harshest off-road racing conditions to give you a tire that will make your anywhere possible. So let us take you on your next big adventure. Tweet us photos at General Tire, hashtag anywhere is possible. Because with General Tire, anywhere is possible. Baja, check. King of the Hammers, check. Crandon, check. The Mint 400, check. Only one wheel company can say they have dominated the deserts and rocks of the Southwest to the mud and carnage of the big house at Crandon, and that company is KMC Wheels. KMC Wheels has won them all with the help of elite drivers like Travis Pastrana, Ricky Johnson, Bryce Menzies, Carl Renazetter, and Lauren Healy, who all rely on the XT Series from KMC Wheels to get them to the finish line and on top of the podium. Check out KMC Wheels and their full line of XT Series wheels at KMCWheels.com or on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at KMC Wheels. KMC Wheels, like no other.
Rigid Industries is the original and #1 LED light bar manufacturer in the world. Torture tested by some of the best drivers in motorsports. Rigid LED lighting products use cutting-edge technology and can stand up to the harshest conditions Mother Nature can dish out. Designed, engineered, and assembled in the United States, Rigid LED lighting is the only choice for your off-road vehicle or boat. Find out more information on the entire line of Rigid Industries LED lighting products at www.rigidindustries.com.
Are you looking for a place to push yourself behind the wheel and see how your driving skills stack up? Dirtfish Rally School is that place. Located on 315 acres of pristine automotive playground at the foot of the Cascade Mountains in Snoqualmie, Washington, right outside of Seattle, Dirtfish Rally School is a one-of-a-kind place where everyone from first-time drivers to seasoned professionals like Bucky Lassick and Antoine Lestage can push themselves to their limit. Whether driving the high-performance, rally-prepped all-wheel drive Subaru Impreza STI is what you're looking for, or you'd rather hang it all out in the rear-wheel drive Subaru BRZs, Dirtfish Rally School has something for everyone. Classes are available from 2 hours to 3 full days and feature instructors with over 150 years of combined racing experience. Whether you're looking to become the best and get an edge on the competition, or just looking to freshen your skills behind the wheel, Dirtfish Rally School is the place to go. For more information on registering for classes, visit Dirtfish on the web at dirtfish.com, or to check out the latest happenings from Dirtfish, follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Dirtfish Rally. Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. I'm your host, Jim Beaver, and man, we are on the downhill stretch here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, and normally what that means is Amy Houde should be calling in just about any time, so I always like to wrap things up with Miss Amy Houde and see what's happening up there in Winnipeg. Or wherever the heck she's at. Normally Winnipeg. Sometimes she calls in from just about all over the place. So she's kind of like me and travels. She's a gypsy, kind of like me, just traveling gypsies. Anybody that works in motorsports will tell you that's generally about the case of it, It's funny. I've had people call into the show, friends that work in motorsports from literally all over the world. It's pretty crazy. We're very fortunate to do what we do, but at the same time, man, you gotta learn to love airports. And I've had my definite struggles with travel this year. It seems like every time I get on a plane and it's delayed, canceled, whatever, and generally it's when they're routed through Chicago. So Chicago has become my Bermuda Triangle this year. Anytime I've got anything routed through Chicago, it's a train wreck. But right now, Amy Houde calling in, so that means we got to hit her music. Where the hood at? You better bust that if you don't pull that. Where the hood at? What up, Amy Houde?
Hey guys, how's it going?
It is. It's going great. I was just talking about my Bermuda Triangle of travel. Seems like every time I get a flight that's routed through Chicago this year, it gets delayed. I get stranded. It gets canceled. Chicago has become my worst nightmare this year. And no offense to anybody that lives in Chicago, because I like my Goose Island 312 beer, but I don't know. It's my train wreck. You have any cities that you always travel through and things get delayed or screwed up?
Yeah, actually, Atlanta. I always had issues with Atlanta, so I used to fly Winnipeg to Atlanta to some freaking random place I forget, and then to Tallahassee. So, okay, I'm from a really small, it's a small province. It's a little bit smaller. So the Winnipeg terminal, there used to only be two terminals. I think we got a couple more now, but it was really, really small. So when you got to fly from a small airport to another small airport, I literally always have 6 layovers in between. And so I used to always have to go down there and take these stupid connections, and it was always the same flight because it would always be at the same time. I'm pretty sure there was one plane fly into freaking Tallahassee, and I had 30 minutes between to get from one gate to the other. And because I flew from Canada, going from the international side to the local side, I remember it was 15-minute jaunt from one side of the airport to the other, which left me 15 minutes to get on my plane, which means if there was any type of delay or anything, I would be late. And then I would have to freaking wait all night or all morning and be stuck in the airport to get another flight out to Tallahassee. But I remember just huckabucking and running through the airport like an idiot. And one time, and then also I would always have to take a layover bag because my bags would never make it. Because you need a certain amount of time for your bags to get through, and I would always have to be waiting and going to pick up my bags from the airport the next day. So I learned to take a layover bag, But then try running through an airport with a backpack and a layover bag. It's not fun. And one time I was running, and my bag, like my backpack, flew open, and all my crap went all over the floor. And here's this little man, here's your bra. And my bra fell out of my bag. And it was so embarrassing. And I was like, oh, my God. I've had my fair share of, airport excursions. But I just remember that one time because I was, like, running up these stairs, and my bag just dumped everything out in the open. And I had all my clothes and underwear and bras and everything all over the airport. So, woohoo.
You know what I find funny about the whole thing is, and we've had this conversation before, and shame on me, I've never been to Canada, right? I know we got to change that. We've had this conversation before, but what I find funny is to be honest with you, I know so many people that do business in Canada, so many people from Canada that do business in the United States. Literally, people travel back and forth daily. You know what I mean? It's at times it's like the United States and Canada are one country. And I know there's a ton of differences, but you would think between us, I mean, it's not like Canadians are trying to jump the border and come live in the United States. And it's not like us in the U.S. are trying to go, we're gonna jump the border and go and go and live in Canada, illegally or something. To me, they ought to just, I don't want to say open the borders, but you would think there would be somebody like you that travels back and forth a lot. There would be some kind of expedited process so you didn't have the international, switch that you have to make.
Yeah, no, it sucks. I mean, sometimes it's a little bit different. Like if you get kind of the same airport staff. I'm very well known at my airport. Everyone's like, Amy, going dirt biking. Where are you going? Like, there's certain people and certain, like, airlines who know you a little bit better once you start to travel. But, I mean, I don't even have any of those, like, frequent flyer rewards or programs. I probably should look into them, but I have so many other people who book my flights, and I just, travel through other people. I'm usually not the one to book my stuff. So, I mean, sometimes it is really frustrating because it's like, okay, like I've done this a million times. Just give me a break. I am going down from literally a Friday to a Sunday. Like, how much illegal immigration can I get done in that amount of time? Like, relax, people. And I don't know, when you're traveling, I have a backpack. Like, what do you think I'm doing down there? Like, I mean, I've seen people travel and they have a whole bag full of, like, makeup and stuff, which kind of seems like they're going down to do some type of other type of business or whatever. But, no, it is a really big pain. And the fact that, just going through customs is really, tiring. And I think I told you before, but, I need to literally bring my life savings and everything to the airport now. Like, I need a copy of my bank statement, my mortgage, what I do for my job, a written letter now for what I'm going down to do if it's something out of the ordinary. They just drill me. It's a pain in the butt. And I almost missed a flight one time because of it. So, and actually one time I cried. I had to go to customs and I had a really bad day and I was really stressed out. And I got pulled in there and they're asking all these dumb questions and I didn't really know what to say. And I totally started bawling in customs. And I was just like, I'm sorry. I don't know what you guys want. And I was a wreck. It was terrible. But they're threatening. I mean, they are hounding me with questions, and it's just dumb. Like, you don't even have an answer for it. I'm like, what are you guys trying to do? Like, they're just like, oh, this doesn't seem like it adds up. I'm like, because there's no hidden story behind it. I have no story. It's like, I'm going down to do this, and that's it. Like, what do you want? And I don't know. It's just, I started to cry. I'm soft sometimes.
It's crazy they put you through that and I know this is totally. I had people ask me actually when I was up in at the Rally America round, and I've had people tweet me. They're like, "How do you and Amy figure out what you're going to talk about on your segments?" And I'm like, "We don't." Well, what do you mean? It's totally not scripted. Like, seriously, we've talked here for I don't know how long about travel. My show outline here says 10:30 with a slash. It says Amy Houde segment. That's it. That's it. That's our planning. So people who think we plan this out, what we talk about, absolutely not. It's totally shooting from the hip. But
I used to, when I first came on the show, I'd, write all this stuff up and be like, I totally know what I'm going to talk about. And that totally screws you up even more. Like, if you have something you want to say, I find I never can actually get it out. So I'm stumbling over my words, and I'm like, okay, I wanted to talk about this. Oh, shit, lost my moment. Back up. And, it's always just so much easier to go with the flow and, talk about real life stuff, and that's kind of how you get the best content. I mean, real life is crazy and unpredicted and unscripted, and so that's why we can talk about moto adventures and, you know, our personal opinions about racing and, like, kind of the whole backside of it, like traveling and the funny things we run into, because it's just, you know, unscripted realness.
Yeah. Well, going back to travel, what I was going to say, though, is I go to Mexico here and there. And actually, when my in-laws are here from Minnesota, they like to go down to Mexico and get their prescription meds because they're so much cheaper than buying them here, right? And I'll go and what's that?
That's so crazy.
Yeah,
let's go down to Mexico to get a prescription meds.
Yeah, no, you know, well, and you don't even need a prescription down there, right? They'll sell you anything. But I go and I get ibuprofen 800 and muscle relaxers, and I've got a prescription here for them. But the hoops you have to go through, and I only use them. I've got a really bad back that I hurt playing football when I was younger, and obviously being a professional off-road racer is probably not the best idea for somebody with a bad back, but go figure. So I just keep them. You never know when the thing's going to act up. So I buy them down there, but it's funny because I can walk across the border with these prescription medications and everything else, and literally they just customs looks at it. Okay. You know, you can pretty much bring any kind of medication you want across the border. They don't care. But somebody like you, they give all kinds of crap about because you've got a backpack full of underwear.
I can't bring my freaking tweezers in my carry-on or my nail clippers. They took my nail clippers. I mean, what kind of woman does not who travels without eyebrow tweezers? Like, you need that. That's, like, mandatory. And they freaking take them because they think they're a lethal weapon and you're going to stab someone in the jugular on the plane or something. I mean, come on. Frustrating. They're like, excuse me, ma'am, you have something deadly in your makeup kit. I'm like, what? And they're like, pull out my freaking tweezers. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. Like, look at these eyebrows. I got enough to squeeze them when I land. And, oh, gosh, just blows my mind. Heated. I'm very heated right now.
Yeah. Well, I got to ask you, put it out there. And honestly, the questions we got back this week, everybody knew you crashed. They wanted to know if you're all right. So give us a lowdown. It sounds like it's a pretty hellacious crash. So you A-okay this week?
Oh, it was a gooder. It was definitely probably one of the gnarliest crashes of the season. I actually haven't really crashed very much this year so far. Knock on wood, and this is only plastic in my truck, so knock on plastic. But, no, I've had a pretty safe season. And I mean, if anything, you're going to crash on a practice day. So I was like 4 laps in, and my dad was flagging on a jump because it's just a nice open ride before the vintage race on Sunday. And my dad was flagging on top of this jump, and I, like, looked over at him. And then the track was really, really wet, and it was, like, wet to the point where my tires were completely full, so it was almost like it felt like you're riding on ice with just, you know, non-studded tires. Your tires were totally full with mud, and you're just skating around out there. And I looked at him, and then my bars just jackknifed on the face of the jump, going over this, like, downhill triple tabletop thing. And I'm like, oh, shit. I could just feel myself, you know, I could feel the nastiness coming about. So I just got on the gas and tried to kind of save it, but I landed sideways and hucked in the air and just kind of tumbled down the hill. But, like, first things first, I just stood up. I'm like, okay, I'm fine. Hopefully nobody saw that. And then I see my dad at the top of the hill, and he's just, like, waving the flag at me, like, laughing. I'm like, really? Like, I could be seriously injured right now, and you're standing up there laughing at your daughter who just ate crap in front of you. But, no, yeah, I was fine. I mean, I saw some stars, and I got, the worst of all, I got really bad whiplash. So, yeah, I mean, for as crazy and scary as the crash was, I actually kind of walked it off. So, yeah. And then my dad straightened my bike out. I bent my exhaust, completely bent my rad. I have no idea how it's not leaking right now. And then my bars were all the way down and a little bit bent. They, like, banged everything in place, straightened it out, and went back out for next practice.
Nice. Yeah, were you on the you were on the Honda, right? You weren't on the vintage bike?
No, yeah, I was on my Honda. I did a couple laps on the vintage bike, and I was kind of hurting a little bit too much, so I called it a day. And this weekend I had a serious moto adventure. Me and Ashley packed up our stuff, and we drove 3.5 hours to basically ride for 2 hours. Practice started at noon, and we left around 3. So I guess we drove 3.5 hours to ride and practice for 3 hours. Drove 3.5 hours back to the city. My friends came, picked us up, and we went with about 30 people out to these big sand pits and had another moto adventure like that night. So we literally drove 6 hours in total to ride for 3 hours, and then we went to another moto party. Like, I don't know. Most people would shake your heads and say you're crazy, but if there's anytime there's an opportunity, like, I just say yes. Like, I'm one of those yes women. I'm just like, you want to go here? Yes. You want to drive this far to ride this long? Yeah, sure. Why not? So this was like a jam-packed weekend, and it was a good time, but I'm feeling it today.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, I'm a little sore today.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, like you said, I guess if you're going to crash, good thing to do it in practice. That's what I say when it comes to Terracross. I'll crash in practice, right? No.
Yeah, and I'm glad it happened in practice because like I got 2 races left of the season, and like I have to have like 2 strong finishes to be able to win the championship here. So, I mean, say la vie, for as gnarly as it was, it turned out to be fine. And I mean, I got back up and I rode the next practice, and I felt like I rode awesome. So, whatever. I mean, sometimes you just got to shake it off. And I was at that point where you're almost like, okay, you know when a kid crashes and you like look at them and they're debating whether they're going to like burst into tears or not? That's kind of how I was. I was like, oh my God. And I almost cried, and I'm like, okay, Amy, you're fine. And I just sucked it back in.
And as your dad's laughing, waving the flag at you.
Yeah, he never even came down. Like, there's a bunch of people stopped and seen if I was okay,
yeah, your dad.
Yeah, so the fact that my dad didn't run down, I'm like, okay, Amy, you're fine. Yeah. Just keep going. Just get back up and shake it off.
As your dad's waving the flag with a broken collarbone.
Yeah. No, he rode.
He rode?
Yes.
He's gnarly.
My mom's not happy. But no, I mean, this was one of our best tracks. It is the best track in Manitoba. And my dad said, he's like, I don't care how mad your mother is going to be at me. I did not come all this way to not ride. So he did 2 of the open practices. And I get home on Sunday night to drop my bike off at my parents' house because, again, I don't have my garage yet. It's not yet ready. So I always have to leave my bike at my parents'. So I got home, and I'm like, oh, hey, guys. There's my dad limping up the stairs. He's like, I'm a little sore today. I'm like, oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so funny.
Hey, you got to give me the
diehard.
What's that?
He's just a diehard.
Yeah. Well, you got to give me the scoop. So I follow your mom on Instagram, and she posts some pretty rad stuff. And she posted a picture. She posted a picture about a week or so ago on the big dude that rides. And, you know, and how he's like a fan favorite. That guy, I mean, props to him, but give us the story on that because, I mean, to me, that's a feel-good story that I like talking about.
Okay, well, let me look here. I got my mom's Instagram popping up. I forget this guy's name here. Oh, yeah, Craig. Craig is awesome. I mean, there's a lot of guys in vintage racing, and the MOTMX is called. It's the Manitoba Old Timers Association. So it's really cool. They created this club here in Manitoba that, the MMA, the Manitoba Motocross, kind of lost itself a little where, this is a non-profit organization that is supposed to be about the riders, okay? Like, this is a motocross club that's supposed to be about the riders. Our trophies are crap. It costs way too much money to enter, and we get nothing at our banquets. I'm sorry, but I just think that they lost that whole for the rider aspect of running this motocross club, and now it's just about making money, and buying a big trailer to bring to the races to run the transponders and run sign-in, and, we're getting these $2 piece of crap trophies, and for me, I don't care. But for these kids and people who, these trophies are what they look back on their life to remember their childhood or, their experience racing motocross. There's so many clubs now that have cool trophies or plaques or something that's very memorable and worth keeping. And, our club is just giving these piece of crap trophies. Like, I just think it's gone so downhill. And so the Manitoba Old Timers created this club that kind of wanted to get back to the roots of racing. And they didn't want those kind of weekend warrior guys who make kind of racing a little bit unsafe. So they started this club where you have to be 30 years or older to join. and all of your family can join. So if you're, a dad and you have a bunch of daughters and sons who ride, you guys can all get a membership. And it's also vintage racing, so there's all these vintage bikes and stuff. There's a vintage class, there's age classes, and then there's the kid classes and then an open one. So I would ride my vintage bike and then the open class. So it's pretty cool. They got big trophies, and then their banquets are really, really fun. They focus on lots of prizes, cool trophies and stuff for the kids. And, it's just something they just do something a little bit different, and they get back to the roots of it. And, this guy, Craig, my mom posted this photo of him on his super old DT400 there. And, he's just kind of one of those guys who is all about racing. And he came to the banquet last year and bought a Hot Wheels thing for each one of the kids. I know, it's pretty cool. But my mom was so excited because when she posted this photo, the first person to like it was Robbie Madison. And she's like, oh my God, I just stand out so hard. Look who liked my picture. So I don't know. I don't even know how he ended up finding her on Instagram. Maybe through the hashtags of vintage bikes, but pretty cool. It's pretty cool of Robbie to go and, like other people's stuff.
Yeah.
He's never met my mom. I don't even think he knows who I am. So, I don't know, it's just pretty rad.
Well, I do want to make a point, though. We're talking about this guy, and he gives back the kids, brought them all Hot Wheels, old timer. He goes out on his bike and just has a good time. The reason why I bring it up is, I don't care how big you are. Get off the couch, go out and do something. This guy, he's got to be 275 pounds.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe. But, that's what I'm saying, though. It doesn't matter. Just go out and have fun. It doesn't matter if you're going to win, if you're going to lose. Get off the couch, go out, be active, have fun, live a little.
Yeah, when I grew up riding when I was little, there's this guy who's always come to the track, and on his chest protector and on his jersey, it had the name Wide Load on it. And I will always remember that because, the guy was probably 200 and some pounds. But, he embraced the fact that he was a big guy on a dirt bike. And I think he rode a YZ 252 stroke. And, he was definitely a little bit of a wide load. He was not fast. He was not setting the world on fire. But he was out every weekend racing. And, this guy, probably when I was on 60s and 80s, it was a long time ago. But pretty cool that he was out there doing this thing. And it just goes to show, motocross, you can be any age, any size, any gender, any whatever, and you can just go and have a good time. So,
yeah, for
pretty
sure.
Awesome.
I know some guys in desert racing that still riding. They show up and everybody looks at them like, "What in the heck?" There's a 250-pound guy who's going to run a 200-mile race. These guys can flat get with it. They, you know what I mean? Just because they put on some weight, they didn't lose their riding skill. And some of these guys, you look at them and it's kind of like a sleeper pick. You know what I mean? It's like, people don't think much of them. They get out there and they're like a rocket, and you're like, "Holy crap, where'd that come from?"
Yeah, but if you guys do have, if you're a little bit heavier and would like to, nail down your fitness goals, feel free to give me a shout or send me a DM on Instagram because I am all about that fit life and helping people become the best versions of themselves. So, and First Form is there to help me, and we can help you.
Yeah, for sure. Nice little plug and segue there.
Yeah.
I do have to give a shout out, though. Our buddy is celebrating his birthday today. I saw Kristen throwing up a tweet. Levi LaValle celebrating his birthday, so I got to give a shout out to Levi LaValle today.
Oh, God, I wonder what crazy thing he's going to be doing this weekend.
Did you see his video, Camp LaValle?
Yes, I want to go.
Yeah, it was so cool. Mix of wakeboarding and jumping bikes into the lake and motocross and foam pits and all kinds of fun.
That's what he does on the regular. That's his daily routine. When I was at his house, he's like, yeah, usually by this time we're out on the lake. Me and his wife and Liv, they're out there. They go for an early boat ride and go wakeboarding while the water's still glass. And then he probably does a couple moto laps and a couple backflips, and he builds some ramps. And, yeah, he's just the activity guru. He just kind of has the perfect compound in place to do a whole bunch of activities. So, all these, people have, Camp Boom Diggity and, sports camps and stuff. They don't even, that's a one time a year shot. And Levi is out there doing that every single day.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
well, and that's when I was up there. It was December, and he was actually doing X Games training. And I show up there, and they've got the snow blowers running because there wasn't much snow on the ground at that time, and they're making snow, and they didn't have the foam pit open. He was practicing some trick for X Games later, and they were going to open the foam pit. They had the ramp set up, and and he was it was full on X Games prep, but they've got the track there, the snowcross practice track, and it was just cool. Like you said, he's got an ultimate compound, and that's literally what. There wasn't like he filmed that strictly for a YouTube video. No, that's literally documented a week of his life.
Yeah, totally. That's what's like the coolest thing about it, is it's not just like a stage. That's who he is as a person. That's what he lives, breathes every day, and that kind of makes it so rad.
Yeah.
This is just supernatural. This is just what I do.
Yeah, exactly.
That's kind of cool. Like when I lived in California, and I was down in Oceanside for a little bit, for one summer, that's what we would do. We had this half pipe in the backyard. So we'd wake up first thing in the morning, we'd go out for an early surf. There was like 10 of us, and we'd go surfing, come back, load all of our stuff up, and we would go motoing. And usually we would go around like Elsinore and stuff, and then we'd have a boat, and then we'd hop in Lake Elsinore and go wakeboarding, and then we'd come back home, go for a skate in the backyard, and then do a late night surf. So it was so cool how every day we woke up and did 5 different sports. It was awesome. And I mean, if I can continue doing that, and that's the end goal, obviously, is to be able to just wake up every day and do all these really cool activities, and so sick. I mean, once you get that taste of that lifestyle, it's really, really hard to turn back.
Yeah. And a lot of it has to do with where you live and being able to do things. I mean, I know you up there in Winnipeg. I mean, you take in everything you can.
Oh, yeah. I also surfing, right? First thing in the morning, just, drive 30-some hours, go surf, and, drive 30-some hours to go snowboard, whatever. I mean, so easy. Such easy access for me.
Yeah, right. Too funny. All right. Well, you got anything else before we let you go?
I don't think so. I mean, I hope everyone just follows next week and the week after. We got 2 more weeks of racing here for me for the championship, and then I am fully changing into 4-wheel off-road freaking Terracross mode. I cannot wait. I am so excited. I've actually probably never been so excited / nervous for something in my life. I'm only nervous because I saw this video one time of this guy doing this triple flip in a Polaris Razor.
Yeah.
And
triple front flip. First triple front flip in the history of Razors. Yours truly. I actually pitched it to Jolene for Nitro Circus, but they weren't biting. I said, you guys have all these guys flipping and everything. I said, look, every time I'm in a Razor, I wreck the thing. I'm not scared of wrecking anymore. Whatever, I just get out and walk away. I'm definitely the fan favorite there because I put on a show, right? So I just told her, I said, you guys need somebody to triple front flip a Razor, and she just laughed. So yeah, Nitro Circus wasn't biting. I was trying to get me a gig on Nitro, and obviously I would have, we would have found something out for you there at Nitro, but it wasn't working. They weren't biting. So I guess you're supposed to land these, not just do them. So
yeah.
Didn't quite.
Actually, I do have one comment on here. I kind of threw it up there on Instagram if anybody had any questions they wanted answered. And I do have one that I kind of liked here, and it was asked twice, but why did I pick dirt bikes? And I do kind of think this is an interesting question because I don't know if most people know, but I've done a little bit of everything. I started off, I was a gymnast for 13 years. I got my 2nd degree black belt in Taekwondo. I started off, I had a little quad. I was a diver, a swimmer, a lifeguard, everything. I danced. I've tried every sport under the sun, and I always kind of, for a while I just drift away from bikes and, focus on gymnastics or focus on swimming or something. And, motocross always pulled me back in because there really is no other feeling in the world than crashing your face off on the dirt, having your body slammed on the ground, and being able to pick yourself back up and being able to finish a race. I think motocross really brings out the true champion in every person, and you really learn what determination and perseverance And you really figure out what you're made of and what you can stand and how to kind of overcome hurdles and obstacles riding your bike. It's one of the most physically demanding sports in the world, whatever level of riding you're at. I mean, it's tough. It's hard to crash. It's hard to get back on, and it's even harder to finish after, you've been defeated. And even to try to learn how to win. I mean, you're going to lose and, become the runner-up in mid-pack. You're going to have so many more races where you're not winning. And being able to just, enjoy what you're doing and kind of be able to go back to the drawing board and say, okay, I'm not going to quit just because I didn't finish where I want to finish. Like, it takes a certain type of person, and I really admire people like that who, I've raced for 23 years, and there's only a handful of people who have, started where I have started, like started on 50s with me, who continue racing today. Because a lot of people, they grow up, they move to B class or pro class, and they suck and they quit.
Yeah.
And, it's hard to lose. So it's really cool to be able to see these people I've grown up with, like, persevere through the ups and downs of racing and, still be able to enjoy it and come to the track every weekend just because they genuinely love dirt bikes. So it's really cool. There's a really cool culture around racing, and it's just, a sport that's not like any other. And, that's why I choose dirt bikes over anything, because it is super badass and gnarly.
Nice. All right, I think we got to go. Great place to end that on, though, Amy. We'll definitely talk to you next week. In a couple of weeks, we'll be banging doors up there in Terracross.
Woo! Sounds good, Kate. Take it easy, guys. Have a great week.
All right, thanks, Amy. All right, that was Amy Houde. Be sure and tweet her at AmyHoude71, and you can definitely follow me at JimBeaver15 on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.com/DownAndDirtyShow. Download all of our back episodes, DownAndDirtyShow.com. Big shout out to Polaris Razor, General Tire, Rigid Industries, Dirtfish Rally School, UPR.com, Blue Resort and Casino, JMR Brakes, KMC Wheels, Parker Motor Company, Gibson Exhaust, MTX Audio, the official audio partner of the Down and Dirty Radio Show, and Intense Tees. We'll be at you next week. Going to be a Tuesday edition because of Labor Day here in the States, but we will definitely have some more Down and Dirty Radio Show for you coming at you. This has been Jim Beaver on behalf of the Down and Dirty Radio Show, Polaris Razor. We'll see you next week. As always, game on.